This session is on packages and access modifiers. Packages is to group classes which is of similar type, and then it also groups the interfaces and subpackages. So let's take an example here. So I have a Java basic project. So in this we have three packages: com.java-tutorial.basic, com.java-tutorial.collections, and then com.java-tutorial.oops. So here what we do is, we put list demo, map demo, set demo. These are all classes related to the collections. So I'm just trying to group them and putting under the collections package. So how to create a package in Java? The first line of Java is going to be the package statement. Package is a keyword. So you have package com.java-tutorial.collections, which means that the class that you are going to put after this is going to belong to this package actually. So how your class can be referenced is by the package name dot the class name. Why we use packages? To avoid name collisions. So what is name collisions? So let's say you are coming up with a class name called list demo in your project, whereas your fellow developer is also coming up with the same name called list demo. So you will not be able to have two names, two class names sitting in the same package, right? If you don't assume if you don't have package, it's high chance that people will be coming up with the same names, and there will be definitely a name collision that will be happening in your project. So this packages avoids the name collision. Suppose if you are having list demo in your package, if somebody else is coming up with a list demo in a different package, still it is okay, because your class name is going to be referenced by your package name dot the class name. So as long as you are not having a duplicate class name in the same package, you will not be having the name collisions. And while you name the classes, you will be also careful that you will be creating a packages with the kind of a naming convention that will be unique. So this packages is also having helping us to maintain classes in a easier way. So if I want to go and look out for a particular class, I can just go ahead and open up a package and look at it, because the package names are very self-descriptive. So I would know where to look out for a particular class, and it is basically easy to maintain because you don't need to put everything in a single package, which will be too much big to see. Instead of that, if you organize into smaller chunks, it would be easy to manage as well as it is easy to organize. So there is a common naming conventions in packages. So always the packages will be starting with the domain names in a reverse chronological order. So when I say reverse order, how it does is basically, if you have example, if you take Google, the domain name of Google is google.com. Domain name of Amazon is amazon.com. So that is going to be unique. No one is going to get that same name for anywhere. So because they reserve that name. So each one website is going to be a unique name what they are going to get. So if you name the package like com.google, starting with com.google, then you can add your modules there basically. So let's say Google has like the map module, it has basically the mail modules. So it can basically put all the mail related classes in com.google.mail. It can put all the map related classes into com.google.maps. So like that, it is easy to organize into the domain name, module name, submodule name, like that. They can organize their classes more effectively using the packages. Import. So import is a keyword in Java which is going to help to access a class interface from other packages. Suppose I am writing a class and I need a class from other package, then I will be importing the class to my package actually. So the keyword which is going to help here is the import keyword. So let's say we have a class called utils, and this class is present in com.java-tutorial.common package. And this utils is having a method, a static method, which is a isPrime method, which takes a input number and it is going to validate whether it's going to say whether it is a prime number or not. It's going to return true or false. So this class I'm having it. So if anyone wants to write a prime number, or if anyone wants to basically make use of the prime number class, they don't need to write the program. Instead, they can access my class, import my class to their class, and then they can try to access it. So how they access my utils class is by importing the class. So how do they import a class? By writing the import statement. So you see the import statement is the one which is going to be following the package statement. This class which is the prime number test class may be present in a package called com.java tutorial.basic, whereas the utils class is present in com.java tutorial.common. So if you see, there are two import statements, in fact three import statements. One is saying import java.util.start. The second import says java.util.concurrent.start, and the third import is com.java.tutorial.common.utils. So if you see the third import, I'm not using any wildcard character like start. The third import is just going to import the utils class itself, which is present in com.java.tutorial.common. So this is one form of import where we are trying to import the class itself. The first one is using the wildcards, which is going to be star. That means it is going to get all the classes. It is going to give me the access for all the classes that is present in the java.util package. It doesn't mean that I'm going to get access to all the classes that is present in java.util.concurrent package, which is a sub package of util. It just gives me the access to classes of java.util. It does not give access to any of its sub packages. Okay, and if you see here in this code, we have used something like uh, java.util.date d is equals new java.util.date. So I don't need to write I don't need to write or import statement to import a package. In this case, I would have done import java.util.date, and I would have used the class name just like date d is equal to new date of. If you don't want to import, you can still write the fully qualified name here, like where this class is available. You have to write java.util.date. In our case, if you want to let's say if you want to use the utils class, and if you are not writing the import statement, what you can do is you can still use com.java.tutorial.common.utils dot is prime method. So we can have a fully qualified name at any point of time, to identify a class. So mainly we will not be doing this. We will always do an import. The only circumstance where we will be using this fully qualified name is when let's say I wanted to use in my program a date class. The date class is present in two places. One is a java.sql.date. The other one is java.util.date. Now if I import java.sql.star, I will be getting only the date from java.sql package. Now if I wanted to use a java.util.date, then there is a kind of a name collision here. So in order to resolve that, I have to either use a fully qualified name to distinguish, I'm not using this date, I'm using this date, like that. And you see the code is very simple. I'm using a scanner function. Scanner s is equal to new scanner system.in scanner class, which is used to get the input from the keyboard. And this scanner class is available in java.util package. So that is the reason when you import java.util.star, it is going to get all the classes in that. So scanner is one of the class. And you have it is just calling the utils.isPrime method, so which is just trying to call the isPrime method from the utils class, and we have imported the utils class here. So that's about the packages. So basically packages is to group the classes, interfaces, and sub packages. And if you want to use a class from a different package, you need to do an import. And you can do a import, like you can import all the classes in a package. You can that doesn't mean you import all the sub packages and their classes as well. It is not recursive. It's just going to get only the classes in the particular package. If you want to get the sub packages classes, you need to have one more import statement and do that, like what we have described here. The other thing is you can also do a import just a class what you need. You don't need to import all the classes from a package. You just import what you need. So let's say in my common package I have like 10 classes. I don't need to import all the 10 classes. I just need the utils class which I'm going to use in the program. So I'll be just importing only that class. The other option, if you don't want to use import, there are situations where you don't want to use import if there is a collision. If you want to use two classes which is having the same name in the same program, then you will go with a fully qualified name. Okay, let's move on to access modifiers. The access modifiers determines whether classes can access a particular field, invoke a particular method. So there are two access modifiers is applied at two levels. One is the top level, which is the class, the public class, wherever you are writing the public class. That level, the access modifiers can be applied, and it can be applied at the member level. So member level is anything that is inside a class. If you have a public class, inside that public class, you can have one more class even. You can have a instance variable. You can have a methods. So all these are kind of a class members. So you can, for the top level, which is the for the public class, what you can do is you can apply only two access modifiers, which is public and then package private. Package private means no modifiers. We also call them as default. Means we don't put anything there. You can also, so you would have noticed the top level classes always will be having the public there. We will talk about what is public, how it is going to be doing, all these things in a demo session using, by writing programs, which would be easy to help you to understand easily. Let's understand what is available to what first actually. So if you are writing any class, the class can be either a default one or it can be a public one. When I say default, it is called as no modifier. I don't put any modifier, that is called default, or you can also call it as a package private. The class members can have 4 modifiers, which is public, and it can have default just like the top level one. The other things you can have is a private and protected. So this is a chart what is we are going to look at now with the help of a program. So if you see the private modifier, if you have anything as private, whether it is a class, whether it is a member, whatever it is, if it is a private, then that member is going to be accessed only within the class. The scope of the access is within the class. You cannot access the private members within a package. When I say within a package, you can write one more class within a package. From that class, if you are trying to access a private member, you will not be able to access it. Outside the package, like if you are in a totally different package, you cannot access them. Of course, if you are in the same package itself, you cannot access it. Then that means you cannot access even if you go outside the package. So private members can be accessed only within the class. If I didn't put any modifier, which is a package private, or if I didn't put any modifier at all, then that can be accessed within the class as well as within the package, but it cannot be accessed outside the package. So that is what we call it as a package private. Only it is private. It is just behaving like a private, but for the package, not for the class. The third modifier is protected. So protected means you will be able to access within the class, within the package, but when it comes to outside the package, yes, you can access it, but by subclassing that actually. So if you have a package like A and you have a class like C, you have to, if you're going for a different package like B, and if you want to access this C, you will not be able to access the protected members of C. You cannot access it. But if you subclass that C, let's say D extends C, then you will be able to access it. So the protected members cannot be directly accessed by creating a reference, but protected members can be accessed by doing a subclassing. Finally, the public is going to get access for everything. Like you can access within the class, within the package, and outside the package. So let's move on to writing some programs with Eclipse so that we understand this concept very clearly. Okay, new class. So I'm just going to create one class called let's say A. I'm going to put it in a package, make it as packages, and inside packages I'm going to put it in P1 so that this class is belonging to a package called P1. So I'm just going to have a main method here in the same class. So I'm just going to create it. Okay, for simplicity perspective, I'm just when I say members of a class, it can be an instance variable as well as instance methods, right? So, or even the static methods as well. So anything that is contained in the class is the member of the class. And as I said, here for the class A, you can give only the public, or you can remove this. This is the only thing you can do it. But you cannot give a protected or private at this level. You will be getting errors when you do that. You cannot make protected class. You cannot make a private class. But here you can make inside the class. If you are trying to make a protected class, that is okay, or a private class, that is okay, but not not in the outside actually. Okay, so now we would have all the time we would have done some programs like making integer a, I would make it as integer I. So this is, we didn't put any modifier before this. That means it is called as a package private, or you can call it as a default. I mean, I didn't put anything there, which means I can access it within the class and within the package. Let's see how it works. So I will have some variables like I. So I want to make this I as a private, and I'm going to create one more variable. Let me have some values for this so it's easy to access. So private int I, and then I don't put anything for j, which is a default, or I can call it as a package private. And I'm going to have one more thing called protected k equals 30, and one more thing is public l equals 40. So I have four types of integer variables which is going to have different values. Okay, and these are the access modifiers we have for this: private, default, or package private, and protected and public. Okay, so let's try to access these variables in this method, in this main program. So we can say sysout. I'm going to access I, and just copy this to have j, and I'm sorry. Okay. Oh, I'm seeing some errors. Oh, you know what? Okay, I got it. So these are all instance variables. So I have to make a object for this, of course. Yeah, it's not a static variables. Okay. So now you make a dot I, and you make a dot j. K a dot l. So I'm going to save this and run this program. So you see 10, 20, 30, 40. So I'm able to access within the class. This method is able to access all the variables I, j, k, and l for all the modifiers. Let's do the same thing with another class. I'm going to copy this class and paste it, and name this class as B. Okay. Now this B class is going to, I'm just going to remove all these things because I want to create, I don't want to access B class, but I want to try to access the, create an instance for the A, and then try to access them. So as you see here, the class name is B, and it is belonging to the same package P1 as like A. And I'm creating an instance of this A class, and then I'm trying to access its private member, which is I, but it is giving me an error. So it says like the field a.I is not visible. That means the private members, whatever you are writing here, private, anything that you having it as private, either it is a method or it is a variable, is only visible to this class. I can access the variable only within this class. I cannot access outside the class. So private members will be accessible only within the class. So this is not possible But if you see the other things, I can access a package private variable, I can access a protected variable, and I can access a public variable. All these things are allowed, if your class is within the package. And you could have observed I don't need to import this class since it is within my package. I don't need to do an import. If you are writing this class outside the package, then this class needs to be imported. Okay, let's do one more, which is going to be creating a class. C, and this will be created in P2. Okay, so now this, you see here, A is in P1, B is in P1, but C is in a different package called P2. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to write a main method here and try to do the same thing what I did in A. Okay, so the moment you see I copy pasted it, it was creating an import because A is not in the same package as like C. So I have to import the package A from P1. So that's what I'm trying to do here. You can put a star, which means that you will be importing A and B if you put a star here. So I create an instance of A and I'm trying to access a private variable. I'm trying to access a public, the default variable, which is a package private. I'm trying to access a protected variable. None of them are able to get accessed. So everything is complaining that I'm not able to, the field is not visible. So I cannot access a private variable, I cannot access a default variable, I cannot access a protected variable. So what can be accessed or what can be visible? Only the public variable, which is L. So then this raises us a question, why do we need to, what is the difference between package private and a protected? Why do we need to have a protected, right? So if you see, I'm able to access the protected variable in B, I'm able to access the default variable in B, J and K, I can access it, okay? Here also, in C also, I'm able to access only J, I cannot access J and K here. So now we should have a difference between the default one and the protected one. Otherwise, there is no point of having protected. We can use default itself there, right? So there comes this. You can access protected variable by means of inheritance and not by creating a reference. So let's do this. So let's say we have a D, class D, and I'm going to have a main method for this as well. But what I'm going to do for class D is I'm going to make this class D extending the A. Even though I extend A, and if you try to do the same thing, yeah, try to remove this comments, you will still see the errors for the first three because you extended A, but you are trying to access the K, which is the protected variable, with the A reference. Actually, you are not accessing it through the inheritance, right? So this is not right. You cannot access the protected variable by creating a reference for the superclass. But how can you access this variable? This variable comes with inheritance. So when I say it comes with inheritance, the concept of inheritance is you will be able to access the superclass variables in the subclass object so that I don't need to recreate them. But the inheritance concept, when we talked about this, we just said it will be able to acquire the parent class properties. But what parent class properties? Only the public and protected parent class properties. If it is within the package, you can access the default member parent class properties as well. But if it is outside the package, you can access only the protected member classes. So the developers of the class can be in a different program and if the different package, and who wants to extend can be in a different package. So they still need to get that access to the variables which is protected, and you cannot make them as public and give it to all. So it has to be restricted. There should be some level of restriction to be there, but at the same time it has to give some liberty to the subclasses. That is where the protected comes into picture. So how do we access protected variables? You can do it with inheritance. So what is inheritance here? D is equals new D of. So I create an object of D, and if I try to access, of course, you cannot access the first three. I show you. Only the protected variables will be accessible. Okay. So if I remove this comments, it's going to give me error. But so change this to D instead of. Okay. Now you see it's complaining for I and J, which is the private and default, not for the K and L. So this is not correct, but I can access the protected variable. Okay, so I was talking about variables all the time, so because just to simplify this whole thing, but the same goes with the methods as well. So if I have a private method, let's say private void method 1, and it says sysout private method. So this private method can be accessed using a.meth1 here. Actually, I can call this method here. But I cannot call this private method anywhere else. So it's called, anything that is private is going to be accessible within the class. So I will not be able to access this method 1 here. So this is not possible. It's giving error. So whatever I talked about for the variables is going to be for the methods as well. Whenever you say a method is a private, or if you say a method is protected, then you can access the protected method if you are within the package. If you are outside the package, if you create the reference for this class and try to access the protected method, you cannot access. But what you can do is you can subclass that and you can access the protected method. And the only scope which is accessible for everything is public. So we have to be very careful. You cannot give all the methods as public. So you have to impose some rules over it. We will see why you should not make everything as public and give access to everyone in the next session.